Hello, my name is Ann-Christin. I'm an urban and regional planner at Studio Stadtregion. In our office, we have two departments, the architecture team and the team of urban development where I work. Studio Stadtregion is also part of the project consortium Creating Neighborhoods Together in Munich, which is one of 6 lighthouse projects of the European Union's New European Bauhaus initiative. As you may have heard, the New European Bauhaus follows 3 principles: beautiful, together and sustainable. Today I would like to shed some light on the principle beautiful for you from an urban development perspective. To approach the term, please have a look at the selection of buildings and ask yourself in which one of these buildings you would like to live in or which one you find the most beautiful. And I assume if we were all sit together in one room today and do this little survey, I guess that we would have a lot of different answers, because beauty is very subjective and is also a very individual experience. However, if we turn our attention from an individual building to larger scale urban structures, such as neighborhoods, districts, or the city itself, we realize that there are some design principles and concepts that we generally feel beauty or think that they are beauty or feel comfortable in. And one of these design principles is the human scale, a principle which is promoted or, let's say, invented by the Danish architect Jan Gehl. And it means that cities should fit to the people and their needs. To give you some examples, these are aspects like walkability, so the city should be accessible by foot, and the street situations should be inviting so that we have an incentive to go by foot. We should also have spaces like public spaces where people can meet, that the city gets vibrant and we have a lot of interactions. And we should also feel comfort in cities. For example, if a space is too large or too confusing, it's not felt as a pleasant surrounding. To give you an example, the bridge, which you can see in the picture, is located in Ludwigshafen. Ludwigshafen was built after the principle of a car-friendly city, which means that the accessibility of the city focuses on the needs by cars. And by doing so, it overlooks the human scale and ignores aesthetic and a comfortable spatial experience for the people. Not necessarily the bridge itself, but the place beneath it, what you can see. We call it in urban development language the Unorte in German, or non-places in English. And these are places where we feel unsafe, they are not connected to the rest of the city, and they do not allow interactions, because you see there are, for example, no banks where we can sit on or where we can meet. So to sum it up, we have a lack of quality to stay there. And these are places where we do not feel comfortable in. To show you another example, in contrast to these Unorte, which you could see, is the Superkielenparken in Copenhagen. And this, in fact, was also in the past in non-place, because it was an unused urban structure. And by the conversion of this urban space, it was intended to give the space back to the people. In Superkielenparken, you also see that the people stand in the focus, because it has a very aesthetic design. It won a lot of architecture prizes, for example, and it has a participatory design as well, so the people were asked about their needs, and I do not want to go too deep into detail, but through a participatory design, this place was activated to the people or for the people again, and they used a participatory process And you can see this in the equipment of the park and in the aesthetic design of the park as well. So I guess now you have a little picture, at least, about the human scale, what is a human scale, and in contrast to that, what Unorte are characterized. To bridge the context which I just explained to the new European Bauhaus, we see that the new European Bauhaus and the principle beautiful also addresses the human scale. And by doing so, or in doing so, they have three ambitions. The first ambition is to activate, which from my perspective means that they want to bring these Unorte or new places back to the people, that they fit the human needs. And this is also connected to the local context. This means that, for example, when we design an urban space, we use local materials, we have a look at what really is the need of the people, and this can also differ from neighborhood to neighborhood. So it's not necessarily that, let's say, Munich at all has the same needs, but it differs from the different districts and the different locations as well. So this is something we need to activate and to integrate in our design processes. So the second ambition is to connect. And for me, it means that we need to connect people, that we create inclusive public spaces, for example, let's say also consuming free places, that everyone can be part of the city. But it not only means or focusing on connecting people, but it also means that we're connecting our urban design with nature. To give you an example from our project, the Creating Neighborhoods Together, if you're interested, have a look at the actions Animal-Aided Design or Ecolobes, which focusing on bringing back nature structures in the urban surrounding and the urban development. And the last ambition, kind of to conclude this small impulse for you, is the ambition to integrate. And this for me means that, for example, we do a conversion of these non-places, which can also be a parking spot. It does not necessarily need to be like a very large urban structure, but can also be like tiny little spots which do not fit to the human scale. And by integrating, we have also a look in the future. So that means that the urban design that we are creating has a transformative effect on the people, which means, for example, that we do not use a housing just for offices, but when we think in planning and say, okay, at one time this house won't be an office anymore, but it could also be used for living, that we build the structure of the houses as well to have a transformative or to get the basis for a transformative effect. So this was a small insight of the principle beautiful. I hope you enjoyed, and take a look at our project.